finally, the children, who are the measure of nature's fiercest instinct, parent toward offspring, protection of the young, and who, when they are thrown away, give measurement of a weakening human instinct. A recent study said 100,000 American children are homeless. Tonight's report is of Peru's 300,000 and of a few hands raised against the weakening. Here is World Monitor's Bill Delaney.
In Peru, at least 300,000 children are abandoned, innocent castaways of poverty and war. Few ever have enough to eat or a place to sleep, or know the comfort of loving arms. But at the John Paul II orphanage south of Lima, a handful have all of that, because Father Joe Walijewski of La Crosse, Wisconsin, always had a thing about bananas.
When I was a newspaper boy, I used to like to go to where the boxcars were, and they were unloading oranges and bananas and so forth. And I happened to like bananas. And I says, well, where do these bananas come from? And he says, from South America. He said, well, cheapers. And when I was a little kid, I said, well, maybe that's where I want to go, to South America and work.
For 35 years now, Father Joe Walijewski has done just that, devoting his life to working in the slums of South America. But only in the past 3.5 years has he realized his greatest ambition, starting an orphanage.
You know, I was walking in the streets of Lima one day, and it was in the evening, and I saw there's a bundle of newspapers over there, and all of a sudden this newspaper began to shake. Now there came a head of a little boy. They had no place to go. They were sleeping there out on that sidewalk. And I thought to myself, keepers, now how can I go home to a comfortable bed, knowing that there are thousands of these children like this out on the side, no place to go? So that's, I said, I got to do something about this, you know.
What he did was get a brief audience with the Pope when John Paul II visited Lima in 1985. In what was evidently an effective blend of Polish, Spanish, and English, Father Joe persuaded the Pope to give $50,000 to get the orphanage going. Now, 58 kids live there, split into 7 surrogate families, each headed by a tutor who acts as a surrogate parent. Father Joe bases everything on family, never accepting one abandoned child unless he can also accept their brothers and sisters. He sees the orphanage as a home, not an institution.
I see in the future of not only 58 children, but I see thousands of children, like a city of children.
He teaches the children they can do anything, but especially encourages them to eventually leave the city slums for the countryside, which he sees as the future for all of Latin America's poor, now trapped in the deadening cycles of urban poverty. He's had his vision painted in the orphanage chapel.
We're training the children, or that they would get a spirit of nature, which God, I think, wanted. He made it for us, beautiful things in the world, rather than the slums and the garbage and all that. There's beauty in the world, and in their own country. We like to have them share in some of that beauty.
He says he's trying to bring beauty into the lives of children who've seen life at its worst, children traumatized by physical, sexual, and emotional abuse, and by war. These children, a sister and 2 brothers, are from the mountains of Peru. They hid under a bed and watched their parents and grandparents massacred with machetes by terrorists. Father Joe remembers when they came to the orphanage.
In the night, I heard a big scream. And then I went down to see what was the matter. And this little boy, this 3-year-old boy, he was standing in his bed, and he's sweating. And he was screaming. He was asking for his mama, mama. See? In other words, it was a trauma that he saw. And I don't think he perhaps will never forget as long as he lives. But today, he's a happy kid, you know. Little by little, it's disappearing, this trauma, but it's still there. And the other 2 are the same. I say all children are good. All children are good. But it's that experience that they had with someone that perhaps was not good, that is still with them, and eventually they will see the goodness of life when you show this, your interest in them.
Father Joe Walijewski says he's devoted his life to showing an interest, showing just a bit of the goodness of life to kids who might not otherwise see it. And he's doing it all where he always dreamed he would, in South America, amid the banana trees. For World Monitor, this is Bill Delaney in Lima, Peru.
And that's all for this evening.